Yo, what up, what up? You see, man, Big Branden Carter. I'm here with my man, Julien Blanc from Real Social Dynamics. He's a dating coach, personal development coach now, man. Like, he's
everywhere.
He's everywhere, man. He's covering new ground, man. And Julien does, like, great on his channel, YouTube / Julien himself. He does these great book reviews, like, in-depth. You know, like,
one a week.
Yeah, one a week. And it's like way better than the book reviews I do. Sorry. And way better than my book reviews where I just like, yeah, read the shit if you want, and if whatever, nigga. And but Julien, he like breaks it down, like, and so he reads a lot too. So a question I get all the time is, why do you read so much? Why is reading so important? And it's a weird question for me to answer, because I've been like obsessed with reading since I was 17. Then I started speed reading. You know, like I took a course, and now I can read up to, like, you know, I can read pretty fast. And I just try to digest as much information as I can. But it's weird. I don't understand why you wouldn't. But
It's like, why would you? Why wouldn't you?
Can you explain to them why the benefits of reading so much, and what you get out of it?
Okay, so the way I view it is, you know, if you look around you, especially with, you know, our society today, everything's watered down, and everything's getting more and more watered down. You know, it's like your influences are pretty much television, which you'll turn on, and it's like a bunch of noise mixed in with more noise, mixed in with commercials and more ads, and that's what's being pumped into your psyche. You go out in the street, there's ads everywhere. The television shows, even the documentaries, like, there's some great ones out there, but a lot of them are just watered down, and that's where you're getting your knowledge, let's just say. Like, that's, you know, your influences. And one thing to understand is you are the sum of all those influences. Okay, if you probably have heard of Jim Rohn's quote, you know, you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. This applies to everything. You know, the people you hang out with, your environment, the places you go, the books you read, the music you listen to, the stuff you watch on television, the movies you see. And understanding that, I mean, it's pretty scary. It's like you look around, you're like, I'm the sum of all of this? Oh my God.
Right.
And it really creates that drive to, like, add some, like, more in-depth quality influences to your life, say books.
Yeah.
So that's one of the main reasons. I mean, I love reading. It's like someone took the time to actually think about this. It's not watered down. It's usually dissected, you know, in extreme depth. And usually too, a book, you know, the what's kept in the book, let's say, again, all the drafts are tossed aside, is usually like the highest. When the writer's writing that, he's usually in, like, or he or she is usually in the highest frequency mentally that they could be. You know, it's like really pure high consciousness content. It's well thought out. It's, you know, things they've reflected on or learned over years. So it kind of gets you in that same state of mind when reading it. Yeah. You know, instead of like television, you're like, it's like, you read, and it kind of awakens you that way. So those would be the big ones.
You know what it's me? It's like, you play guitar, and I play guitar too. Yeah. Remember when you first started, and you were like, whoa, is this many chords? Is this many different kind of scales? Is this many ways to bend a note? Or, like, you know, you didn't know before you played, you didn't know how much you didn't know. You know, unconscious incompetence, right? Yeah. Unconscious incompetence. You know, that's how it is when I read, like all the time. Like, even now, like, I read something like, fuck, how did I not know? How did I get this far without knowing this?
Yeah,
you know, like,
and
I think when people don't understand the value of reading, it's because they don't know how much they don't know. You know, like, I think it's a big part of it.
Yeah. And another one too is a lot of people read out of ego. So if they don't finish the book, they feel horrible.
Okay.
You know, so it's like, man, if I look at the last 10 years of my life, I never even finished a book. You know, and that was actually me when I was younger. Like, when I was in school, like, say 14, 15, et cetera, I never really read. I'd find a way to get good grades without even reading the books at school. And
me too. I just listened. Like, my thing is, if I listen, I'll retain it.
Yeah. So I do that, and then I kind of look back. I'm like, why would I start reading? You know, I never finished all these books. I don't even know if I can finish these books. And then you just get scared. Like, well, if I'm not going to finish, why start?
Yeah.
And it's like the worst frame of mind. Like, oh, if I'm not going to finish, why start? And my advice here is kind of shift that question. Ask yourself, hey, what's more beneficial to me? Reading even the first few chapters or not reading at all? And it's obviously reading the first few chapters.
Yeah.
I would rather start a bunch of different books and get like that first chapter of 100 books than none at all. And then obviously over time you kind of build the muscle where you're able to read for longer periods of time. And again, it's not coming from that ego place, like book finished, check. Next book finished, check.
Yeah.
It's like, how much are you getting out of it?
Exactly. Yeah, what do you extract? If the book is bullshit, I will stop.
Yes,
You know what I'm saying? Like,
exactly,
you know what I do is I do this. Well, I'll get into strategy later, but I vet books before I read the whole thing. I have a strategy. Maybe I'll explain that another time. But how many books do you go through? Maybe like a month or a week.
Well, right now with the channel, I'm doing one book review a week. So I'm doing one book where I go in depth, like all out. I don't even speed read it. I'm taking active notes all the way through, and then I present the main concepts of the book, how I related to it, and what I learned from it. So one a week in depth, and then apart from that, I kind of multi-read other books. So I have like usually 2 big books that I'll take a few months to kind of read, where I'll just go back to them every once in a while, and then I'll have some other ones where I just kind of speed read through them. But I try to do that one a week, full in depth, and having those on the side. But what I will say too is, don't fall into the trap of, also judging. It's like how successful I am at reading by how many books I read.
Yeah.
If a book's like really good, it'd be better to spend a longer period of time really sucking in the knowledge than jumping off to the next book. And always allow some time in between books you read. Because what I tend to see is guys like, speed reading, man, fucking 2 books, 3 books a day. And they finish the book and they spend no time to actually reflect on what they just learned. They're like, okay, finish it, next book. And it's like this surface level where none of these ideas like seep into who they are.
I'm sorry. I will speed read about 2 books a week. But there's always one, sometimes I come across a book that is so profound to me that I feel like I need to know this shit like the back of my hand. Like, so some books I'll take notes and make flashcards and memorize. That's over the top nerdiness, but I did that with like Pitch Anything is a book on sales and presentations, and I did that with 48 Laws of Power, and I do that with other like when I really feel like and then make flashcards and actually like spend some time each day.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's over the top nerdy, but it's like I really want to get it. It's not about how fast I went through the book. It's like, how much of this book can I put in my head,
Yeah. No, I take notes too, and I'd recommend it as well. Like, if there's a book you really resonate with, like, take down notes. Like, you will forget, and rereading those notes kind of re-sparks that book in your mind. Because no matter how much time you spend kind of reflecting on the ideas, and of course the best way is to, implement those ideas, those books are really like spinning plates.
Yeah.
We were talking about before, there's a great book called The 6 Pillars of Self-Esteem by Nathaniel Branden. And, we were with Greg, and he was like, oh, so what was it about exactly? And I was like, I don't really remember. I just knew it. I had a lot of epiphanies when I read it, but I kind of forgot. So you go back, like, don't be afraid of rereading certain books as well.
How often do you reread books? I have a few books that are always in the rotation. Like, those 2 I mentioned, Tony Robbins' Awaken, Giant Within. There's a few others that just stay in the rotation, man. Influenced by Cialdini.
Yeah.
That's probably one of my favorite. What books are like, if you could just, the security guard said we had to quit filming here at this beautiful resort, but just real quick, what are some books that really impact you? Maybe like if you could pick 5 or something. Okay, three.
Oh man, that's interesting.
You said the 6 pillars.
Okay, so 6 Pillars of Self-Esteem for sure. Like, that one's a classic. Nathaniel Branden. If you didn't read that one, check it out. I'm trying to think. In terms of a more spiritual one, I made a review on this one, the Kybalion. Check that book out. It's published by the 3 Initiates. It's more anonymously published. That one's more on the spiritual side, and then more on the money-making side, because I like the sly way, the sly and subtle way it's written. The Narrow Road by Felix Dennis.
You told me those. I bought the Narrow Road like a second ago. As you said, man, they kicking us out of here, man. Follow. I'm gonna do 3 real quick for me. 48 Laws of Power, influenced by Dr. Cialdini, and Pitch Anything by some guy whose name I can't remember.
Yeah.
Those are good ones.
Yeah, there are too many. What I do now as well, by the way, is I just take notes of all the books I read, and instead of just rereading the books, I just skim through all the notes. So I'll even do like 5 at the same time.
That's dope. All right, listen. Check out some of his book reviews right now. Julien.com/
YouTube.com. Julien himself.
I'm sorry, man. These security guards got me nervous. It's YouTube.com/ Julien himself. The book reviews are awesome. Like, sometimes you don't need to read the fucking book. Like, he does such a good job. You probably still should, but like,
if you resonate with it, check out the book. But they go pretty in depth.
Man. Like, I appreciate what you do, man. Awesome.
Thanks, man.
Subscribe to this channel, guys.
How ripped do you want to be? That's a serious question. How ripped do you want to be? What supplement do I use? T-Rex. 100% natural fat burner. It's not a magic pill. Ain't no magic pills, man. If it was a magic pill, then you could take it, put it in the ground, and it'll grow beanstalk and you go to heaven. I'm not gonna try to tell you this is magic. You just eat these pills and you're gonna get ripped. You gotta put in the work. But when you put in the work, you wanna make sure you can get the most out of it. And that's what I use T-Rex for.